What's up, IG Live? How's it going? How's it going? Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. If you're just hopping on, welcome to the replay. What's up, Marcel? What's up, brother? I appreciate your support, bro. You already know, man. How's it going, my guy? Hey, how's it going, Stefan? Another beautiful day to get it, man. Father's Day. Father's Day, so we're not going to keep this long because I definitely want to spend some time with the kids. But I want to bring some heat for you guys today, man. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's probably not going to be as many people on here actively as usual, due to it being Father's Day and all that good stuff. But furthermore, I got a special guest today, man. I'm going to bring in my guy, James Top Dog, Get You Top Dollar. And his story is super remarkable. If you're on Facebook right here, I'm going to actually bring the camera around. And we're just going to do it like this so you can kind of see it both ways here. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to load, we got a super special guest tonight. My man James, a.k.a. Top Dog, Get You Top Dollar. The reason why I'm super excited to bring him.
What up, Brody?
What's going on, my man?
What's good with it?
I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed. How about you?
Let's see if I can set up here. I'm good. I actually just pulled up to the parents' house. So we're going to rock it out. I got the little Mozzie logo in the background. Gotta love that. But what's good with you, bro? What are you doing for Father's Day?
My man, brother. I'm just here with you, man. Do this thing with you. And then after that, I'm just going to get out, get active with my kids. We'll probably go for a walk, for a trail or something like that.
Yeah.
But just enjoy some time outside, man.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, I'm glad to jump into it. Let's do it.
Okay. You still there? Got it.
Yep.
Went out. Okay, guys. So, yeah, man, we know your time's super valuable, and I know you're with your parents, so we'll hop straight into it. But just to kind of give people the background story, the reason why I wanted to have my man James on here, and just to kind of go back to when me and you first met, man, it's probably been like a little over a year, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
At the Greatness Center. I don't know if you 100% remember, but, it's just like super interesting, and I respect exactly what you're doing, dude, because you bring so much like value. You're genuine, the excitement you bring to the table. But just seeing like when we first met and you were telling me the vision you had of how you want to help a lot of people and just change the game on social media, and just the client relationship, dude, and to see all that manifesting and all the people you're helping, dude, I'm super excited, man.
Yeah. Bro,
yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy when you think about a business, right? It's just this idea, this thing you have in your head, this thing that you like feel somewhere in your heart that you're passionate about, this dream you have or whatever. And I always tell people, because I'm not sure if you're not an entrepreneur, you might not totally understand it. It's like, I made this thing up. Like, this was some idea I had, right? Like, this wasn't some like place that you could go to, or this thing you could touch, or this thing you could feel. It's like it all starts with a little spark in your head and a belief in your soul that this thing's possible. And it's like the more clear you are about this being real and this being achievable, the more likely it is to actually manifest in real life.
Yeah, dude, that's so true. That's so true. So like just going back to like, the very beginning, just kind of like your backstory. I always like to start off kind of with people's childhood because, obviously that's where we're impacted the most. And a lot of that affects us growing up. Just kind of talk about, the way you were brought up and, whether, positive or negative. Just kind of talk about that story so we can get a feel from the background and, your humble beginnings.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is that I'm back in my hometown now. I used to actually have I grew up in Media, PA, so like about 20 to 30 minutes south of Philly. I used to have really weird feelings coming around here because I got a lot of bad memories. I had a lot of memories of some of my most difficult years were like 17 to 25. And those are the memories that like I associate with the place. It's weird. It's like a place gives you feelings and brings you right back. And what's been cool is, lately I've been able to come back to this area. And I think because I'm a lot more confident in myself and who I am and what I'm about, that like I don't let those negative feelings creep in. But But for me, I mean, it was all about drugs. It was all about oxys and Percocet. I started doing them when I was like 16, 17 years old. You know, I had 2 surgeries wrestling, so I tore my right shoulder and then my left shoulder, and so the doctor prescribed me painkillers, and I didn't like start abusing them then, but I think what it did for me is I took them and I realized like, oh, these things aren't a big deal. I took them after my surgery, you know, and everything was totally cool. So then when like my boys had them, and make no mistake, like everybody who I played sports with in high school during that time was doing them. It was like the in thing to do, you know? So I definitely wanted other people to like me. I succumbed to that peer pressure. I remember I was in like the high level classes, so I was in like the AP classes. I was the president of my class, but I wanted to like roll around with the kids that were partying, where the hot girls were. You know what I mean? And I appreciate King Age, bro, all you guys in the chat right now. But I wanted to roll around with that crowd, man. I wanted to roll around that crowd, do that thing, and so, you know, I gave in to maybe some of my better instincts, and I started. And then once I started, it was like, yo, something went off in my head that was like, I love this. Like this feeling that these pills give me, I can really just be myself. It makes me better with everything. It makes me more confident with women. It makes me, you know, all these different things, which in retrospect, like that was going on in my head. That wasn't how I actually was in real life. But when you take that stuff and you're addicted to that stuff, you convince yourself that like this thing is a miracle drug that makes me better. And, you know, during those early days, I like to say it was just fun, right? And then it became fun with problems, and then it became just problems, right? And so those years from like 17 to 22, like just being reckless, you know, having crazy parties, Miami and Vegas, and doing like just crazy shit like that, staying up all night, going to clubs, not remembering anything the next day, just living that lifestyle. And for a while, like it was fun. Like I don't look back on it, I'm like, oh, I totally regret everything. But it got to a point where like, yo, it just totally went from pure enjoyment to my life is kind of unmanageable. You know, I remember this moment specifically where it was like I had gone on a bender to Las Vegas. I was supposed to be there for 2 days, and I ended up staying for 4 days. And then what I did was I ended up canceling my flight and figuring out this place where I did drugs. And I went back there, and I actually ended up living there. I like muted my phone. I like lived on this girl's floor, just getting high all day, neglecting all my responsibilities. I was working for a judge at the time, believe it or not, bro. And I'm just like literally in the middle of nowhere, Las Vegas, fucked up. I took a red-eye flight home. I didn't sleep. I came in. I went into like a seminar for legal writing, and when that happened, I had my first ever like panic attack, bro. It felt like my heart was beating out of my chest. Like it was absolutely crazy. I was like, I need to go to the emergency room right now. I ended up calling my my therapist, because I've been seeing like a drug counselor for a little while there, like more just to get like my parents and my girlfriend off my back, than actually like wanting to change anything. But it was really in that moment where I was like, I can't do this anymore, man. Like I had owed so many people so much money. I was constantly waking up thinking every day, how can I get that next one? I felt like I had all this potential that was going to waste. And I just had too much pride. I didn't want to ask for help. I know you have a story, so I'm going to be interested to hear what you have to say about, you know, what happened with yours. But I don't know if you can relate to that at all. I just had like such pride and ego that I didn't want anybody to really know what was going on with me. I had this image that I had to protect, and I didn't want, you know, my friends or my family to think of me in that way, even though that's who I was, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. 1000%, man. Yeah, dude. And if you're on this now, man, he's gonna be dropping a lot of bombs. We got nothing but good intentions, and he's just being super transparent, man. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing in this society. So if you're getting on, please share this out. Tag some friends in here, But yeah, absolutely, I can definitely relate to that, man. That's kind of when we met, that's one of the things we had in similar common. I'm the father of three, and I had my first child at 15. I started.
Happy Father's Day, bro.
My brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, yeah. So I started, actively kind of experimenting with drugs around 16. Around 18 is when I was really active daily. Similar thing, man. I had a ACL tear that ended, my career, and then, just getting prescribed those pills, got used to them, started using them on a daily. Eventually, it got to more serious use like cocaine and meth, and definitely just kind of like hit rock bottom. And, one thing that I realize, and I really respect about you as well, because I know you still give back to your community, and you're, assisting and helping active drug addicts, is, most people who've struggled with some type of drug abuse, man, they're really sweet, genuine, loving people, it's just, they have a difficulty with maybe dealing with something, and then another thing I realized as well is, I was the type of guy that I was a binger, man. I would go and go, and 10x, I wouldn't stop, so a lot of people that's been through what we've been through, man, they have the great characteristics to be successful or be a great entrepreneur and achieve what they're doing. They're just putting their focus in the wrong thing, and going hard at that, and when you replace that habit with a better habit, you kind of start getting those stepping stones to get to, where you want to go. But yeah, I can definitely relate.
You know what's crazy is I don't talk about this a ton because I don't know if I can put it in the right words, but let me try. Is like,
sure.
I never was some like big time drug dealer, right? I was just an addict. You ever hear the saying, "A monkey can't sell bananas"?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would pick up like 10 or 20 30s at once and like want to be able to do 5 for free and 5 on the cheap. So I'd sell 10 at like a really high price to try to, make some money back so I could get another 20 or whatever. And so, but when you're doing that, you're constantly feeling other people out. Like, and so you're like managing your inventory, you're like talking to different people who are interested, you're like scheming for how you can get enough capital, you're like making moves, like moving and shaking. And what I've realized in the legal industry, and I think it's the same thing with real estate, is like that same level of like grind and hustle, if applied to like something legitimate, can work for you. Like those same things that I could get creative with to like fuel my addiction, I can also use to like grow my business. And it's crazy. Resourceful. That's a great word. I was a resourceful motherfucker, and I'm still a resourceful person, right?
Yeah.
And like when you're hungry and desperate and used to having no money, and I had to bet big on my business. I put in I think I took out $35,000 in credit lines and then got my old football coach to guarantee a $50K loan for me. So I took out $85,000 on this idea that I had. And most people were like, "Oh my God, are you sleeping at night?" And dude, I'll be honest, I just was so used to being broke and so used to taking risks that it was just like, whatever. It was like, this is gonna work. I know this is gonna work. Like, I'm not worried at all. And the whole time it was like, yeah, I don't have the money coming in yet, but the step 1 I hit, step 2 I hit, step 3 I hit. And so I just was confident the whole time that what I was building was gonna end up producing something, big at the end.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I think that's key, man, that, like you said, that you just had the confidence, the grit, the will, and you just kept persisting because, you were associating pain to your past, so there wasn't much more pain that can be inflicted. I mean, you were already here anyway, there was nowhere to go but up, so I love that mentality, man. So I always, tell people, of course, I try to bring on people that are going to give information and, people that are leading by example. So if you're taking notes, I think that would be maybe the first key thing to write down, is just having the persistence and knowing that where you're at, you know, isn't necessarily, you know, where you're going to end up or where you're going to be, you know.
And I'll say this too with the money thing. Like I don't say
Sure.
those numbers to brag, but I say them because a lot of people are going way too small, bro. Like way too small. It's like if you have a dream and you have a goal and a business and you have something you got to get started, you got to put some money in that thing. And a lot of people, they say they're going all out, but then when you talk about getting a $5,000 loan or a $10,000 loan, they're like, and it's like, you know, believe, trust me, I know they're not handing those things out. It was fucking impossible. I went to a zillion banks before I figured it out. But, you know, you got to be willing to put your money where your mouth is. You got to be willing to bet big on yourself to get big returns. And there's this place that if you push all your chips into the middle, you figure out things at a clip, at a rate. You make it work. You find a way to make it work or make it work. Whereas if you're working another job and you're doing your dream on the side and you're kind of one toe in and one toe out, you don't ever get that pressure, that force, that burn the ships mentality that makes you have to make it work, you know, because you don't have any other option. And there's some type of special hunger, desperation, resourcefulness that comes from that place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, that's key. That's key. So I want to transition, you know, to at first, you know, you started out, you were, you know, becoming addicted to drugs, ignoring the responsibilities you had. You know, you obviously make a transition and start making a change. But before you get to that point, because I know I was at a place, and I'm, you know, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I assume it'd be the same way about you. Even when you're at a bad spot, man, we all know that we have it in us. Like, we all know. There's just something, some gut feeling, some voice, man. And even I know when I was, you know, doing the drugs, cocaine, partying, binge, I would still be up, you know, reading Grant Cardone 10X or, you know, listening to YouTube, you know, and I'm thinking in my head, like, you know, I know I could do this one day, but, you know, so how do you go from that point to where you are ignoring all your responsibilities, you're not doing the things you're supposed to, eventually start building some momentum and working towards, you know, what God has for you or your calling? What was kind of like your steps?
Great question, bro. I actually remember there's this thing called November Project, which is a bunch of people in Philly that wake up at 6 o'clock and run. And it's like by the art museum. And I remember going with my roommate one day and listening to personal and professional development. I think it was like Tim Ferriss at the time was like the OG podcaster.
Yeah.
So we're listening to Tim Ferriss, we're running and blah, blah. And then we get back to the apartment and I literally like go into my room and smoke a Perk 30 off a piece of tinfoil. And I remember in that moment, like thinking in my head, what am I, like, I'm so conflicted on who I am and who I want to become. Like, I want to change this person, but I can't. Now, to answer your question more directly, I think the biggest blessing God did for me is that he made my pain so unbearable that I had no option but to change. I think if I was just doing okay, you know, like if I was just smoking weed a lot or just drinking at night or, you know, then things would have taken a lot longer. And, you know, maybe I'm that 40-year-old dad who's at his kid's Little League game all wasted, you know. The blessing for me with like hard drugs like perks is what it did is it like sped up my addiction to where I'm 25 years old. And I'm reevaluating not only my drugs, but everything in my life. And so what happened is I went completely sober. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, I don't take like a Xanax on a plane. Like I'm 100% dead sober since August 27th of 2016.
Congrats, brother.
Thanks, bro. That's just what works for me. I'm a big advocate of harm reduction. So what that means is that I'm not like a 12-step person that necessarily says complete sobriety is the only way or you're destined to jails, institutions, and death. I believe that, you know, if you're using heroin and now you like don't do opiates anymore, but you smoke weed and that's working for you, that's cool. Like I'm not here to judge anybody. But I also know that for me personally, what happened was when I got sober, like no more drinking, no more weed, my shit started getting in a rut, like fast. So I went from like living that out of control lifestyle to like being someone who transformed not only how I use drugs, but the time I wake up. I went from sleeping till 12 to waking up at 6. I started waking up at 6 in rehab actually, and I just kept it going. I went from somebody who never read a book to somebody who read a new book every month. I went from somebody who ate cheesesteaks and pizza to somebody who like started reading about dieting and started like I lost like 40 pounds. I went from somebody who like didn't have any future plans to getting a job offer, which I thought I wanted at that time, of $120,000, which was at a big fancy corporate law firm. When I first got that, I was so unbelievably excited. It was like in a matter of 2 years, the gifts of sobriety, bro. Like my life changed completely. Now, none of the like top dog entrepreneurship stuff has started, but like in every facet of my life, not just drugs and alcohol, I saw remarkable changes.
Wow, wow. And isn't it amazing, man, how so much focus and consistency can go into something, and quickly within a matter of a year and a half, 2 years, you can completely make a full, change in your lifestyle versus the 5 to 6 years that you took to dig yourself in that hole.
Yeah. And I don't mean to just one other thing is I don't mean to say that it's easy, right? It was so fucking hard. Like I remember I guess August of 2016 I had gotten sober, so this was October of 2016, and one of my friends was having a Halloween party, and there were like all these girls that were going, and I was getting text messages. I'm a single guy. I'm getting text messages like, "Where are you? We miss you. Come have fun." And I remember like crying in my bed because I knew that if I wanted to change my life, I couldn't go to that party. But I felt so lonely and so insecure and so bored by myself. And those early days, like particularly the first 6 months of making any change, is so hard. But if you just stick with it, with what you believe in your heart, and think about the long term and not the short term, it gets easier and easier and easier. And now I'm at a point where it's like, I love my life. I love who I am. Like, I'm not convinced that if I had a beer, I would go back to smoking perks off tinfoil. But I know that my life is fucking amazing right now. So I don't want to do anything to risk fucking it up,
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, bro, that's super powerful, man. And if you're taking some notes or just jotting down some mental things to remember from this, I think, one thing that I learned from Dame Dash is being a time traveler. So literally just, visualizing where you want to be and then working backwards to be that, man. And like you said, it's super hard. It's lonely, man. You feel like giving up. You feel like what am I even doing? But your certainty was much more stronger than your doubt. And I like how you talk about just associating pain rather than pleasure to the high. So typically we get a high, it's pleasureful. The partying, the confidence, the feeling, like you said. But you started associating pain to it. And just literally callousing the mind, reverse engineering what you've taught yourself, and moving forward, man. So I shout outs to you, man, and I think that's super important for the people that's watching.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. So kind of transforming from there, you got your life back on track. Then kind of what's next from that point? What got you into the whole vision of Top Dog and, serving as many people as you are, and then making it, comical, entertaining, and cool all at the same time, man?
Thanks, bro. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of tell you. So I grew up, and it's interesting because it's Father's Day. Let me tell you about my dad a little bit. So like my dad. All right, let me say this. So Tony Robbins, who like I'm a huge Tony Robbins guy, always says, "Whose love did you want more, your mother or your father's?" And for me, that was my dad. Like I just wanted to make my dad proud. Like that was my number one thing. And my dad is just like so hard to make. Like, my dad is the guy that'll cut you down at your knee 100. So it was like I was pushing a wheelbarrow uphill. Like, there was nothing I could do that could get my dad's love, and that was why, in a lot of ways, I was like damaged, you know. And it's amazing. I've kind of like come to acceptance with my dad. Like, a lot of my dad's behaviors and feelings are things he got from his dad, who was like a boxer that never said I love you and never. So it's like my dad is doing the best he can, right? And I definitely don't want to be like that to my kids, but at the same time, I'm not resentful about it like I used to be. I'm very accepting of it. But he had this vision of me joining this like white shoe prestigious corporate law firm that like he could go to his barstool buddies, like his buddies at the local bar, and say, hey, my son works at so and so law firm. And so, you know, I like that too, right? Not just my dad. Like, I wanted to tell all the other kids at law school, being a lawyer for me was something that made me not look like or feel like a fuck up. So it was like, if I tell people that I'm a lawyer, they'll not know that I'm such a drug addict. You know what I mean? And so I got this offer. I did this. I worked for 2 months over the summer. I thought 120,000. I mean, fuck, that's a lot of money, right? So I really didn't think about not doing it until I started working with a buddy from high school who happened to be selling marketing to lawyers, specifically to injury lawyers. And at the time, I had already gotten my offer. They give it like 1 year in advance. So I was like, yeah, I'll just help you sell these packages, digital marketing packages. And so it's like I very much believe God is like a this leads to that. Like, he doesn't just give you the vision. He'll give you something that you have no idea is going to lead you to the vision if you just keep, you know, trusting him and following in the space. But I ended up selling these marketing to all these lawyers. And before I knew it, bro, I was making like 10 a month. And so I was like, yo, I'm making as much money now as I would make at the law firm. And like, I am on my own schedule. I'm just convincing people to buy marketing. I'm like, I don't want to go build. I know it looks good and stuff, but I don't want to go do 2,200 hours of like reading, writing, and billable work. I'm like, I can just like talk to people on the phone and convince them to buy stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And so when I declined the law offer, that was like, I remember I had to block my parents' numbers. I actually posted a video about it on Facebook about why I was doing it, and that video was like 2 years of yesterday. So it was like two years ago. Interestingly enough, I saw the memory. I couldn't even watch it. It was like so cringeworthy. I feel bad on camera and just so like uncomfortable and insecure. Yeah. And I made that decision. I remember actually at the time too, just because I think this is something that your fans should write down, is don't ask people for advice that are going to project their own feelings of scarcity or of insecurity, right? So I kept asking people what I should do about turning down the law firm, and if they didn't have an abundance mindset when it came to money, all they were going to do was project their negative beliefs that, oh my God, 120,000, how could you ever do that? Blah, blah, blah. Do it for a couple of years. Blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck, why do I keep asking people for advice? I know what they're going to say. I'm going to disagree with them. Like, what? Like, what do I keep doing this? I'm setting myself up to be upset, you know? And so finally, that was the most courageous thing I ever did. And I fortunately had like an awesome support system of people who like showed love during that period. Because like I said, I had to like block my parents' phone numbers. They were devastated. They thought it was career suicide. And dude, it was funny. It was at that exact same time that I also had the confidence. I hadn't, through my first 2 years of recovery, I hadn't ever spoke about being addicted to drugs, like publicly. I was kind of the opinion, like, this was something that should go into like the recovery room, whether that's like AA or with a therapist or whatever, but to like just kind of talk about it openly on Instagram or on Facebook or in front of friends that aren't in recovery. That was like fuck no, you know? And right when I decided not to take the job, I also decided to own my story, right? And those were big breakthroughs for me. Those were big breakthroughs, and I hadn't had any real thought of creating Top Dog yet, but those were bets on myself. And so I did that, and the next thing, and you guys might want to write this down, is mentorship. What I lucked into in selling these digital marketing products is I met lawyers who own their own personal injury law firms. Like one guy in Florida, one guy in Atlanta, one guy in New York. And I asked, hey, can I come to your office on my dime? I'll fly out there and get a hotel. And can I like meet with you and walk around your office and you tell me how this place works? And because I was delivering value to them first through the marketing services, I was helping bring in business for them. They were like, yeah, dude, you've been making me money. I'll look out for you. Now, if I had cold called them, having not first made them money, they would have told me to fuck off, you know? And a lot of people don't realize that. It's like, you got to do something to add value to a mentor first, and then ask the mentor to help you. You can't just go ask for help, or you're going to fall into one of 100 people who are sending them an email every day, right? Yeah. And so I hope that sinks in, because that's like really solid advice. And what happened is I met some mentors that turned out to be like super, just like businessmen. Like, and I realized that, you know, these guys are making like $16 million a year, $20 million a year, $22 million a year, running these personal injury law firms that are much less about like law. It's like, if you get rear-ended, the other person's at fault. I don't need to like cite you 20 cases to know that, right? Like the law is pretty fucking crystal clear. But what it was about any other business. It was about marketing, and it was about systems and processes. And so I was like, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. This is like a legal job that's more like an entrepreneur that you can make crazy money at. And my favorite part about it is that it helps individual people too. So like, no longer am I working for businesses or like insurance companies or anything like that. I'm serving like my friend Ronnie down the street who got hit in a T-bone accident in front of the zoo. You know, and so I got to like work with people, and then I was like, okay, if I work with people, can I also have the opportunity to impact people, like outside of the legal stuff? Like, can I take a client that I'm helping them on their legal case, make them a $20,000 settlement, and then also counsel them on how to get to that next level of their life, right? And it was like, this is a calling right here. You know, that was when it kind of all clicked, and it was like, all right, I could see myself really doing this.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, man. Yo, you just dropped a lot of bombs right there. That was a lot of heat. That was a lot of heat. But no, you're absolutely right. Just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, man, you got to offer value on the front end. So first of all, what I got mainly out of that, you know, I can relate to with my story as well, is one, you became fully vulnerable and transparent, you know, and once you do that, man, it's just, I mean, it's such a relief, like when you can wake up in the morning and you know you have no secrets, you're fully ethical, and you don't care what no one thinks, man, because you have nothing but good intentions, and you're just giving, and you're working hard every day to serve others, you know, so that's a big thing there. And then, like you said, the value, man. And I know with you, like you were, you know, in a pretty fortunate position where you had some income coming in, so you're investing into your business and the flying out and meeting people. But even for maybe the young bull watching who doesn't really have many dollars, the way that I got within these circles and met people like yourself and Runway and Neo is I literally, you know, offered value through the DMs, you know, stuck with it, kept, you know, persisting. And then when I finally grabbed their attention, I didn't really have, you know, money to go fly out and meet them or anything like that. So I was just like a hustler. Like I went and knocked doors. So I'm like, hey, man,
Love it.
I'll pass out your flyers. I'm knocking doors every day, you know? So just giving, man, and showing people that you really are there to try to help them and add value to them somehow, some way, you can never go wrong with it. And eventually the right people start manifesting in your life, man. So that's gold, brother. I appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks, bro.
Sir, yes, sir. So, yeah, man, you fly down there, you start getting some mentors. You realize it's marketing and systems. You start getting things rocking. You know, I'm sure didn't happen overnight. You know, there was probably some speed bumps in the road and things of that nature. Um, Talk about, I guess, just the industry in general, like just kind of educate us a little bit upon it. Like, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you may see, you know, when dealing with these cases that you can educate us on? And then if there's maybe like a story, a funny story or a horror story that might stand out there from one that you might want to throw in.
Yeah, I got you, bro. And M Sano in the comments. Anybody who else has any other questions, comment in the chat. I'd be happy to hit them. I think what I realized about lawyers, probably more so than any other profession, is that they were a little behind the times. Like, there's this thing with lawyers that, like, oh, we're prestigious and we're on our high horse, and it's like the guy in the billboard with the tie and the blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, what if I just like was a lawyer but did the exact opposite, right? And the legal industry hates me for that. And you know what's funny is I found out they go from hating you to like admiring you, right? And I actually have like a bunch of really cool lawyers that are super supportive and now even ask me for like advice. But at the time, like when I first started doing it, it was like, I'm really going against the grain here. But I think what had happened is I had already talked so much about my addiction and my story and shit that I just really stopped giving a fuck what people thought so much. So it was like, if I don't care what people think, and I think that the strategy I have is going to work, which is to, you know, be on Instagram, to be funny, to like do things totally differently, I'm like, I have no reason to not try this. Like, I had balls. At that point, I was like 3 years sober. I always like to tell people self-confidence comes from like small wins. And if you develop 3 years of small wins at the time, it's like heading into 2019, I started Top Dog Law in March of 2019. So 1 year and 3 months ago. If I go into that period, I'm like riding pretty confident, bro. I'm like, you know, not over the moon confident, but I'm willing to bet on myself, you know, and I did. I bet on myself. I told you guys I took out a lot of money to do that, but I also like went out on a big limb. First off, calling myself Top Dog Law. So when I made this is a funny story. When I made the video for Top Dog Law, I think I had the video done in like November or December of 2018. And I actually waited 3 months to put it out because not only did I talk about addiction in my video, but I also was calling myself Top Dog as a lawyer when every other lawyer calls themselves like Rossman, Grossberg, and Bonowitz, right? They all just use their names. So for some lawyer to start a firm and to call it Top Dog was so contrary that I was, you know, like, when you put, now it's like, yeah, yo, it's Top Dog, blah, blah, blah. But at the time, it's like, I thought I was, you know, could look like an idiot. Like, that everybody would just be like, fuck you, and just, like, laugh in my face, right? Like, that's what you're thinking inside. And so it took, like, a lot of balls to do that. I was actually at 10X in Miami, and Cardone's like, just publish it. And I literally left the event and went and published the video. And some people definitely thought I was crazy, but I definitely got like a positive reception. And then once I published it, then it was like, all right, I got to make this work because now it's out there. Now I said I'm doing this. Now, like, I got to be accountable to this, right? So pressing that publish button, if you want to take a note of that, it's like publish over perfection. Just get it out there. I had a lawyer comment on one of my videos actually the other day about my marketing manager, Ian, misspelled the caption. And this guy like sent me a screenshot with the word misspelled. And I'm like, bro, you haven't put out a video in a year and a half. Like I'm gonna
That
have 2 more videos out before I even read your text
yeah,
message.
that's the friendly hater where they act like they're doing you a favor, but they just
Yeah.
throwing salt.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then I guess in terms of like injury cases, the biggest thing that I've learned is that people want to communicate where they're comfortable. And so for a lot of people in Philly, that's on Instagram, that's through DM. And so so many lawyers want you to call and then you speak to the assistant of the assistant of the assistant. Whereas like somebody will just send me 4 photos of their car looking all beat up and be like, "Yo, can you help?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, what's your number?" Like there's people, there's another guy in my building that, you with me? I got
Yeah,
like obviously Neo, and we know some people like Neo and Runway and all these other people that are doing really well off Instagram, but even a guy in my building I find out is reselling sneakers off Instagram, making like 10 plus K a month. It's like the channels of commerce now today are totally different. Like I got an MBA, right? They didn't teach you Instagram shout outs in
yeah,
business school. And yet, like, that's how I'm gonna make millions of dollars, right? Like that's crazy. And I didn't know it was gonna work out this good. I wish I could like sit there and say like I knew that this was gonna happen the way it did, and I knew it was gonna be big. Um, but really, since I like created the plan and have started executing, like things have been going really, really well. And so, now it's just about like you get a little success, right? You get a little money in your bank account, and you see a couple of commas, like, right? You see like, oh shit, like I never had $100,000 in my life. Like I'm a kid who was like in the red buying Percocets. You know what I mean? Like I never had any money. But now it's like you got to keep your foot on the gas pedal, because that moment you like turn the air conditioners on and kick your feet up, that's the moment you lose your momentum.
yeah, yeah, 1000%, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And man, I'm always rooting for you, man, because
Thanks, bro.
you really do, brother. You got nothing but good intentions, and I just go back to the vivid day where we met, and you painted the vision, and just to see you executing every day and stepping out of the norm and innovating, man, it motivates me to go harder, bro. So, man, that's huge respect to you. I want to go ahead and kind of wrap it up, brother, because I know you're with your parents. I want to respect your time. Just a last thing I want to bring light to. I saw this on your page, and I'm not like super familiar about what you're doing with the foundation, but it was something about helping the war on drugs and
Yeah.
something that you were working with. So I just kind of want to shine some light on that. Could you give us some more info and how you guys are going to be serving?
Yeah, so let me actually put it in the chat right now. The
Yeah.
at so it's at PA Harm Reduction. So that's the nonprofit. I'm on the board of directors. It's a Black-led nonprofit by my boy Devin Reeves, and I actually think that it's really timely given all the police brutality and the mass incarceration of people of color. It's perpetuated the way they do it, and this it's a lot of ways. Obviously, there's
Sure.
like non-violent killings and all sorts of stuff, but when you look at it from like a more systemic problem, a lot of the issues come from this war on drugs thing, which was created by like the Nixon administration in the 70s, which basically said we need to get people off drugs, and the best way that we're going to do that is we're going to lock people up with really serious penalties. And over the last 30 years as a country, drug use has not declined, right? Like we've proven that locking people in jail for drugs is not an effective way to police drug use and to prevent substance use disorder. And so what we've also realized is that the police use the war on drugs and drug offenses to perpetuate discrimination, right? So it's like the amount of people in jail for a petty drug charge that are black compared to white, it's like 6 times as many, right?
Yeah.
not, and you know, when you talk about nonviolent offenses, even more generally, it's, you know, people should not be in jail for drug offenses. They should be in treatment.
That's facts.
Um, Instead, we put them away in the system, and you know, God knows what happens to them afterwards. So we got a lot of different things. I mean, we just sent out thousands of shipments of Narcan, which is like overdose reversal drugs. But really, where I want to get involved moving forward over the next year or two is really in the criminal justice reform space, and thinking about, okay, how can we appropriately penalize drug offenders, so that, you know, they learn from their mistakes, but they also get the treatment they need. And then how do we do that on like an equal basis so that, you know, there's no discrimination involved?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a blessing, man. That's wonderful. Any way I can serve, man, because, you know, again, with me being a young father and a drug addict, you know, early on, I can totally relate. And that's one of the things I'm actually looking to do is give back. You know, I have a soft spot for, you know, addicts and young fathers. So any way I could, you know, help you guys out, let me know. I'm here to serve, brother, for sure.
Yeah, I'll connect you with my buddy Devin, and he'll give you some options on how you can get involved.
Okay, that's a bet. Yep, I'm right here in Allentown, man, just a drive away, so we can
Love
make it happen.
Love,
Sure.
we're actually a statewide organization, and it's interesting you say that, because one of our big goals is like, we don't want to be just Philly and Pittsburgh based. We got to fill out the middle of the state. That means Allentown. That means Reading. That means Erie. That means, you know, because this is happening across the state. It's not just on the, you know, two cities.
1,000%. 1,000%. All right, brother. So yeah, I'm gonna let you get off here. Last thing, if someone's in a accident, you know, someone's in a car crash, something happens, what's the steps? Explain how they can get in touch with you. What's the first things they need to do, don't do, and then is this just within like, you know, like Philadelphia, tri-state, PA, or could this be?
No.
Okay.
I have a network of attorneys pretty much around the country at this point. So, you know, if you're watching and you're in a car accident, I would say is step one, take pictures of the damage to your car and to the other car. Step two, get the insurance information of the other driver. And step three, just send me a DM. Do not speak to the other driver's insurance company. From that point, I can get you all straightened out and, you know, get you feeling better, and hopefully, you know, if the accident's not your fault, try to get you a nice settlement for your pain and suffering.
My brother, that's what's up. Top dog will get you top dollar, guys.
Hey,
my brother. All right,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Hey, you have enjoy your day. I was about to say Happy Father's Day, but tell your pops Happy Father's Day,
I
man.
will.
And I can't wait to kick it with you again.
I can't wait, bro. Thanks again for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys. So there we have it. My man James, top dog, get you top dollar. Man, I love that guy, bro. He just got so much good energy. He brings genuineness every time he comes. I'm ready right now. Only respect what's real. Yo, DM him, DM top dog. Just go ahead and shoot him a DM. Let him know you were on the live with JT and you saw what he said, and he'll get right back to you. But yeah, that's my brother, man. He's always just coming with good vibes, good energy, nothing but good intentions. He's always serving, you know, so any way y'all can support him, definitely support. As far as me, just a little bit about what I do. I work with marketers and influencers and help close their deals online. I'm a high ticket closer, so that's kind of how I met James and some of the circle he's talking about. So what I'm actually looking to do, since it is, I was doing this before Father's Day, but just to kind of drop, since it is Father's Day, I'm looking to work with 20 fathers super closely to teach them how to become a high ticket closer. Kind of like what Top Dog, what James was saying was, rather than going the traditional route, being a lawyer, he just started selling digital services to lawyer brokerages and companies, and he was making, you know, more, 2 times as more than what a lawyer was making by getting on the phone and selling and offering products. So that's what I teach people how to do. I teach people how to sell in a new economy where it's not pushy, where it's not super salesy. In fact, you're really just kind of interviewing and asking the right questions and doing what's best for the client. You know, I literally sit on the phone all day and just help people see how my, services can solve their problem, or my client services. So I want to work with 20 fathers, teach them how to do it. It's going to be absolutely free. I'm not charging nothing for this information, because I know at 15, 16, 17, when I was down and out, when I had my kids and I was dead broke. I mean, literally making a couple $100s a month. Majority of it going to child support, the rest going to bills and, drugs and everything else I was doing, not in my right mind. I wish I had a mentor, and I wish I had someone to just say, hey, yo, get good at communication, get good on the phone, learn a high income skill, learn how to communicate and offer value to people. And if you could do that, you'll never go without employment, and you'll never be able to won't be able to create income for yourself. So if you're Jakil's that dude with the sales, I appreciate you, Ursula. Appreciate you. Y'all go and support Ursula as well. She got some ebooks. She does publishing. She got some clothing line. She got some good things. If y'all are interested in learning more about sales, again, I'm looking to work with 20 fathers, absolutely free, very personally, one-on-one, teach them the skill. Go to my page, follow me, DM me, let me know that you saw the live, tell me your thoughts, and then go to my bio, and I have an application process that you could fill out and learn, how to get on the phone and literally double your income while doubling the time you spend with your kids. Marcel, my boy, Marcel, that's another guy killing it in the high ticket sales industry as well. So yeah, guys, that's all I got for y'all. Enjoy y'all's Father's Day. I love every single one of y'all. I'm just here to serve, give back. Anything I can do for anyone, regardless if I know you personally or I don't, feel free to DM me or text me. I got my number in the bio as well. I'm super accessible. My door is always open, and I'm going to treat y'all like family. So just let me know what I can do for y'all. You know the vibes, ground out stunt later.